So welcome back to Contrarians. Thanks for being here. We're at it again. We're doing another panel. This is another kind of fun topic. We're talking about favorite evil albums. Welcome back, and just wanted to thank you for watching. If you want to join the discussion and be a part of these panels, any tier of the Patreon will get you access. There's also the T Public if you wanted to get some merch. There's a Ko-fi if you want to get Martin a coffee. I think that's what they call it. And yeah, all that good stuff. But most important thing is thanks for watching. Uh, all right, so without any further ado, before I thank our panelist, we're just gonna sorry, a panel of panelists, we're just gonna jump right into it, and then at the very end everyone will get a chance to tell the folks at home a little bit about themselves, make a plug, all that good stuff. So we'll start with Joe, and you can do all top three in one go, and then at the end give your the folks your message at home. So right to you.
All right, so I can nail it down to three. The first is the first Merciful Fate EP, and I bought it and I listened to it and I love it. I still love it to this day, but I'm listening to it. I'm looking at the album cover and I'm like, am I going to hell? Like the lyrical content, the album cover, I'm like, whoa, this is over the top. So it frightened the heck out of me, especially someone who went to Catholic school for 12 years. But the music is awesome. So yeah, it was quite scary for me. And this is when I'm in college. I'm like, am I like, should I be listening to this? Should I be looking at this? Now it doesn't bother me so much, but it definitely scared me. Number two, and I brought this up in favorite albums of 1977, is Never Mind the Bollocks by the Sex Pistols. And that was just because of the social commentary on it. It was nothing I had heard before. I'd only getting into, buying albums for a couple years at that point. And it was something so way out there. It was good hard rock, but it was defined as punk, and Johnny Rotten's vocals were frightening. The song Bodies, again, I'm listening to this as a Catholic schoolboy going, oh my God, am I going to burn in hell for listening to this? But then God Save the Queen and Holidays in the Sun, all the social commentary on it was so different from, Ted Nugent and Kiss, where they're just singing about women and rock and roll and stuff. So that definitely scared me because I listened to it at the time and I'm like, what's happening to our society? Number one, and I would like to thank Ozzy Osbourne, Geezer Butler, Bill Ward, Tony Iommi. The reason I don't do drugs is because of Black Sabbath Paranoid and specifically the song Hand of Doom. And when I bought this album, my dad thought for sure I was going to be a drug addict because I bought a Black Sabbath album. But I listened to Hand of Doom and I'm like, I am never touching this shit ever, because I still listen to it and it is haunting. So I don't do drugs because of Black Sabbath, because that song in particular scared the living crap out of me. It's about heroin, and I was like, I am never touching any of this stuff. So thank you, Ozzy. Thank you, Geezer. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Bill Ward, for putting me on the straight and narrow, because you scared me straight with that album and that song.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I like your picks there. Thanks for being here, Joe. And why don't you tell the folks a little bit about yourself?
Just I love being on the Contrarians. This is a lot of fun. I'm also on Peter Kerr's channel lately, the Rock Nation Daydream. So check it out. We're supposed to be doing a Jack White episode in a couple of weeks, so I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. All right. Let's keep it moving. And David, let's get your top three evil albums.
Okay. Top three. I'll start with this one. So talking about Merciful Fate, and kind of King Diamond, you could probably just spin the wheel and pick an album, right? I mean, they're all kind of scary. And I was going to go here with Abigail, which is kind of was pretty scary the first time I went with it. And then I was going to go there until I remembered this one, The Puppet Master. So this one, I think even today, probably, scary, evil, even the inside sleeve, which I think was the original cover there with the scalpels and the crosses. I mean, anytime you're talking about turning humans into dead people into puppets and all that good stuff. So I think, when we're thinking evil, I went immediately with King Diamond, and kind of then it was just which one. So that was sort of a softball there. Second, which is probably, I think today maybe campy for me a little bit, but Motley Crue's Shout at the Devil. Just the cover with the pentagram kind of was not one that I kept on the top of the stack in my bedroom with my parents around. The first sort of minute 14 with the in the beginning kind of sets the tone, and then as you kind of go through with Helter Skelter and God Bless the Children of the Beast, which is just instrumental, but just the title of that, I think the thematically, the album, it's dark, it's heavy, and kind of for me, certainly when I first became aware of it and was listening to it, certainly scary. Evil. And third, I don't have it. I thought I did, but I had recently moved, and I went through 13 boxes of CDs to find it today, and I couldn't find it. And then I realized I don't have it. I have it, but not a physical copy, which is kind of like this band, similar to King Diamond. I think you could spin the wheel and kind of pick one, but it's Wasp. And I went with KFD, and I think that one just immediately jumped out of the catalog. Anytime, just the title alone, and then the content. I think today, even, it's probably an album I'm not going to be blasting from my bedroom around my family or while I enjoy it. It's really dark, and I think Blackie and Chris, Chris is back in the band, and it's industrial, and that gives it a little bit maybe more darker kind of feel. Lyrical content, I mean, from my understanding, these guys are coming out of some really dark times and bad relationships, and that album, I think, particularly lyrically at some points, and there's even a couple of tracks that are not, I tend to that to this day kind of make me uncomfortable. My third choice, Wasp, KFD.
Awesome. And thanks for coming out and sharing your favorite evil albums. Why don't you tell the folks at home a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, nothing to plug, but I'm relatively new here with the Contrarians, and I'm excited to be here, and look for me hopefully on some more panels in the future. So looking forward to participating more, and we'll see you guys.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. All right, Jamie, you're up next. What are your favorite evil albums?
All right. I didn't know how many we were doing, so I grabbed 4 and I put them in order of evilness. So I'll take 4 and put it to the side. It was Black Widow Sacrifice from 1970. And I will go right into number 3. These are albums that I listen to most of the time, October and wintertime. So I revisited these albums, but it was kind of like drinking a very dark beer on a hot summer day. It just doesn't, I wish we would have done this in October. But I will go with number 3, Behemoth, The Satanist, 2010. This is, if you don't know Behemoth, it's Polish extreme metal, black and death metal. But this one, I would say, you could pick out a lot of Behemoth records. Out of all the ones I've heard, and I don't think I've heard every single one, this one's the most scary. There's a little kid that used to live next door to me, and he'd come over and just hang out because I got arcade machines and he'd like to play them. And he would say sometimes, play the scary record. And he meant this one. Is as scary and as extreme as it is, it's kind of accessible because it has guitar solos that are pretty clean. And if you took the solos out, they would sound like they belong in a hard rock song. And it's got atmosphere and other layered guitars that kind of even out the extremeness. But the song, the shining moment on this album is "Oh Father, Oh Satan, Oh Son." And like I said, it's a bit accessible. if you weren't into extreme metal, you could handle that song. You'd be bobbing your head. And that's the great thing about it, because if it was too extreme for you, what'd you do? You would just turn it off. You wouldn't be scared because it would be turned off. He keeps it just accessible enough that you keep it on. And then he starts to scare you, because at the end of that song, he starts preaching and you feel like you're at a black mass and he's up on the altar preaching, and he's got a staff and maybe fires around him. It's pretty cool. It's very cool. Number 3. Number 2, I'm going all the way to 1970. I'm going to go with Comus. What is this? First Utterance. First Utterance. This is a crazy band from England. And have any of you guys listened to this album before? Because it's hard to explain. It's prog rock, but folky at the same time. The lead singer, it's got female vocals. It kind of sound like folk horror, like if you were on an island and you just visited an island and you heard these kind of vocals coming from the distance, you'd get back on the plane and leave because you didn't want to end up in a big wicker man that was burning. The guy singing sounds like a munchkin from the Wizard of Oz, but an evil version of him. He's got like that gargly to it. This sounds very much like you should not be listening to it when it's going on. It's got, let's look at the instruments here. It's got 12-string acoustic guitars, slide guitars, hand drums, violins, a viola, a flute, and an oboe. And then you got those crazy, it's very primitive sounding. When you listen to it, I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie The Evil Dead, but there's a scene where they play a tape of a guy talking and he's reading from the Book of the Dead. And the words from the tape, no one's saying it in the room, but the tape is playing the words, and him talking on the tape is bringing back the dead. You feel like when you listen to this, it might be doing something like that. You should turn it off. So that is number 2. Number 1, I'm going way deep. Rand might know this one. This is, what year is this? 1979, a crazy band from Belgium called Universe Zero. And the name of the album is Heresy. Now, this shit is crazy. It was on your list?
Yeah.
Did I steal your thunder?
No, I've got an alternative.
So there you go. 2 of us picked it, and it's a pretty obscure band. So that tells you right there how scary this is.
Yeah.
This sounds like it's a score to a horror movie that doesn't exist. It's got weird it's mostly instrumental, but it does have weird chanting. There's stomping music at times. It sounds like a monster's coming down the hallway towards you. This is what I play at trick or treat time. When the trick-or-treaters are coming, this is the album I put on with all my scary lights and everything. And some kids are scared to come up to me, up to the door. And you don't, this is the thing. This is an original 1979 pressing. Not the cheapest record, not the most expensive, but I wanted the original because this is why. You get it on CD, or if you stream it, it ain't the same. Because let's say you're reading passages from the Satanic Bible. I don't even know if there is a such thing, but let's say there's a Satanic Bible.
Oh, there's such a thing.
Okay. So you're reading passages from the Satanic Bible on a Kindle. No, it ain't the same. When you got the real Bible and the pages in front of you and you're reading it, then it's scary. So if you listen to this music on the original pressing, then it becomes even more scary. Like, oh man, turn it off. So yeah, and there's not a lot of melody here. It's just weirdness, guys, but it'll scare the bejesus out of you, I swear. So there's my 3.
Well, yeah, when Symphonic had that in their catalog, when I first heard about it, it says this is the scariest music ever made, and I bought it.
Yeah, and they all their music is scary. They have this one as well. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Pseudo Diors.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I love that.
Hors
album.
d'oeuvres.
That is incredible.
Yeah,
that
It's-
blows away
And
heresy. as
look
far
at
as I'm concerned.
look at the covers of these albums.
Yeah, my cover's different than that. Mine's got like orange clouds that look like storm clouds.
But it's probably no more cheerful than that, I'm
It's
sure.
creepy as
Yeah.
shit.
So there you go.
Those are good choices, Jamie.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
man. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here, Jamie. And you want to tell the folks at home a little about you and what you do?
Oh, I'm Jamie Laszlo. I spend 80% of my life in this room. And the other 20% downstairs drinking beer. And when I'm not doing that, you'll see me on Sea of Tranquility, whether it's sometimes on the Monsters Den or album homework assignment or counting down some albums, or I was on Hudson Valley Squares last night. I don't know when this will air, but tell Marco if he wants to hold on to this until October. I won't be mad.
Awesome. Well, I'll let Marco know that for sure.
All right.
All right. Last but not least, Rand, what are your
Hello.
favorite evil albums?
Well, I'm wearing this shirt, right? Anybody know what that shirt is? Jamie probably knows what it is.
Court of the Crimson King.
Yeah. And so the thing is, this thing, I'm just doing this as an honorable mention, really. But this thing gets labeled as an evil album. It's mainly for the cover, right?
It's
Because the music, it's got one intense song, and the rest of it's fairly mellow. I mean, it's I call it an album of ballads with an insane opening track. But anyways, since he took my thunder with Universe Zero, I'm going to start with this. Dracula by PFM, an Italian prog band. And this is like an Italian opera with prog music and super evil sounding notes. I mean, I happen to have a keyboard next to me today, and I was going to try to, if it's okay, I was going to differentiate between pretty notes and evil notes and how we perceive music as evil, even if there's no lyrics. If that's okay. Can I do it now or later or what?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so if I hit this note, we think of that as pretty, right? But if I hit this, so see the difference? For some reason, we're conditioned to go, oh, that's the devil's note, because you hear it a lot in blues things, like, So anyways, that's my little demonstration. I'll turn it off now. And anyways, yeah, this is insane. This Dracula by PFM. It's kind of hard to get to. It's kind of rare, but I guess you could get it if you want. Now, speaking of that King Crimson album, the guy that wrote the lyrics for that stuff, Pete Sinfield, wrote the lyrics for this album. It's called Esperanto Dance Macabre. And they have 3 albums, but this is the second album, and it's really evil sounding. Look at these guys. They don't look very happy, do they? But anyway, this band is from all over the world, which is why they're called Esperanto, because that's the universal language, is what that means, Esperanto. But I love this album. It's really proggy. It's very dark, like a lot of Inquisition, Catholic type stuff from the old medieval days and whatever. And then I'm going to go with a jazz record by a guy everybody knows named Miles Davis. And this is called Dark Magus. This is the most evil sounding jazz I've ever heard in my life. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Awesome. It's awesome.
If I was to compare this on a scale of yes, I would say this is his relayer. And I don't even know the tunes, but there's a guitar player on here named Pete Cozy that's just out of his freaking mind, and I just love it. It's not better than what he did with John McLaughlin, but it seems like it's a little bit more intense, and I like intense. And that's the kind of jazz I like. Really exciting, very intense and scary stuff. That's my favorite kind of jazz. So those are my three. And yeah.
Boy, we got a
Awesome.
short show today.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say
It seems so.
we got some extra time. Jamie, why don't you talk about your the one you omitted? You had one lined up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I never heard of Black Widow. That's interesting that you have that.
This is kind of scary. It's the least scary of the bunch. I would say that it sounds let's say if Jefferson Airplane was an evil band, if you sprinkled them with a little bit of Black Sabbath. And it's got what the hell's the I had notes here and you made me throw them away. I got the lyric here. Now I can't remember the damn lyric. Oh, here it is. It's got "Come to the Sabbath" on it. And it's got this chant on it that says, come to the Sabbath. Come to the Sabbath. Satan's here. And it's a little bit like a Broadway play production, but a Broadway play that you wouldn't want to bring your kids to, like a scary one. So yeah, and I also thought when I listened to this, and I listened to it a couple of days ago, and I was thinking, you know what this sounds like, especially since it's 1970. Have you ever watched the old Hammer horror movies from like the late 60s to the early 70s, especially that time period? If you got some of the characters from those movies and they learned how to play an instrument and they formed a rock band, this is the kind of music I think they'd be playing. Something pretty close to this. It sounds old. It sounds like 1970, and it's scary though. Some of the songs on here, you're like, what's going on in the studio? I can't see what's going on, but I bet it ain't good. So, and this is low hanging fruit because they're soundtracks. But I mean, you can say the scariest thing about Suspiria and The Omen is the music. You go into those movies knowing that the music's going to scare the bejesus out of you. And I would say I listened to this and they got that scary voice on it. Like, is that the dawning of black metal right here by Goblin? I don't know. Could be. So that's all mine. Now I'm drained out. I got nothing.
Jamie, my first Goblin record was, and I still have it to this day, it was Goblin's Greatest Hits. Now just wrap your head around that comment.
Yeah, I've seen it out there. Yeah. It's just different music scores, I'm sure.
Yeah. From like Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead. I
Right.
actually saw that movie at the theater, and we went because it said music by Goblin. We go, oh, we gotta go.
Right. The perfect
Oh,
name
that's
for a
awesome.
band that did a bunch of horror movie scores. Goblin.
Oh man, David or Rand, do you guys have any other honorary mentions you'd like to talk about?
Yeah.
The only honorable mention I had was, sorry, go ahead, Rand.
No, go ahead.
Step on you
I
there.
got a few things I want to say.
All right, I'll go quick. So my honorable mention was, maybe low hanging fruit, maybe another band that you could probably pick anything out of the catalog, but I went with Slayer, and I went with the Seasons in the Abyss. Just for me, you could probably go a lot of places with Slayer, but I've always thought that the title track was particularly dark and haunting, and so that was my honorable mention, was Seasons in the Abyss. And the cover is pretty scary too.
Yeah. Nice. That's a great pick. All right.
That was my honorable mention.
Oh, well, thanks, man. Rand, you said you got a few more things to go over. Why don't you?
Okay, yeah, I was just going to mention. I forgot his name now. The guy that left. He
Joe.
said, Okay, yeah, Joe. He said he could have went with King Diamond Abigail. Well, in 1987, I was with a crazy woman who I turned her on to that record because I bought the cassette, and we turned that into a religion. It was a weird time for me, but let's just say that I got rid of that album and I haven't listened to it since. It was pretty weird. But anyway, yeah, that's a very evil sounding album. I mean, there's no getting around it, but the musicianship is phenomenal. I mean, that's true. That guitar player, Andee LaRocque, oh my God, he's so good. But yeah, I was just gonna say that oh, I was just gonna plug my my show. I got a show with our fellow contrarian brother Ryan Gavalier. We do a thing, try to do it once a week if possible, called Saucer Rock. And what we do is we talk about the songs that were written about UFOs. And there's a bunch that came out between like 1967 and 1985. But we're really concentrating mostly in the 70s because there's so many. And I'm picking 3 each episode. And sometimes I repeat the bands, but there's so many. If you want to get into that, like it's kind of like just UFOs, flying saucers, Star Trek, Star Wars, anything to do with spaceships or spacecraft, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, or however you look at it, you know. It's just keeping an open mind on everything. And we discuss, what we do is we read the lyrics. Ryan usually reads the lyrics, and then we discuss them. And it's a short show. It only lasts about a half an hour. Today's episode only went 22 minutes, but it's up there on YouTube, and it's under my name, which is Rand Anthony Kelly. And that's all I got is this Saucer Rock. And then I do my own music like I was doing on the keyboard. And I also play guitar and bass. And I put up videos and stuff just for fun to see if anybody likes them, and hardly anybody watches them. I'm still trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and somehow I'm stuck at 595 for a year. I don't know what's going on with that, but it seems odd.
Hey, can I add one more? I just
Sure.
grabbed it. The
Go for
first
it.
Ghost record. If you guys ever listen to Ghost, these guys are playing arenas now. I bought this when it first came out. I'm like, that's a cool little underground band. If you would have told me they're playing arenas 12 years later, I would have called you nuts. But what's scary about this is it's got real evil type lyrics, you know, of sacrifices and burning people. But it's catchy as hell. So you catch yourself singing these evil lyrics like in the shower or riding a bike or something out of the blue, and you're like, now that's evil. You can be extreme like Behemoth, but you ain't singing that stuff a day later when you're driving to the grocery store. But if you can get the earworm in you of the evilness implanted in your brain, then you're doing something. People call it Scooby-Doo rock. Now they got hits on the radio, and they play with disco a little bit and 80s pop and 80s hair metal. But this one, the first one's pretty evil.
Did you watch album Homework Assignment with Pete Pardo and Chris Allo?
Yes,
On
Chris
Sunday?
Allo doesn't know what he's talking about. The new Ghost record's fun as hell.
He was so funny. He's always funny. But yeah, I've never heard Ghost. I don't know.
They're like Blue Oyster Cult with a little bit more pop in it.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Okay.
Described as Scooby-Doo rock, like
Yeah, because you know when the Scooby-Doo gang are being chased and they play that like 1970s Archie's kind of music. It's kind of catchy like that, and it's got that little Scooby-Doo episode rock to it.
oh, that sounds awesome in a weird but kind of fun way.
Oh yeah, and the guy dresses up like an evil pope with the makeup and everything, and it's a blast.
Nice. All right. Well, I mean, we've gone kind of short tonight because I guess
I got a lot of CDs back here.
Hey, if you got a few more honorable mentions you want to pull out, feel free. You got to carry the episode on your back.
Have you
Oh,
heard
my
the
goodness.
the Great Cat?
The Great what?
The Great Cat, Kat.
No.
It's a girl, and she's real satanic, and she plays guitar like a million miles an hour. She's a great guitar player. Her favorite musician is Beethoven, and she did 2 albums, The Great Cat, and the second one's called Beethoven on Speed. Might have done more than that, but she's insane. And if you want scary, check that out. It's probably on YouTube. It's just called The Great Cat, K-A-T.
The second
Insane.
Danzig album scared me in 1990, and
I've never
I
heard
thought
of it.
that's, you know, I was a little naive in 1990 when it came to like hard rock, but that scared me. And the CD, it's downstairs, it's not here. The CD, when you open it, flips up twice and each other direction once. So it's an upside down cross when you open it. And when I opened that, I dropped it. I was like, this is not right. Oh yeah.
Right.
Danzig
Oh.
too, Lucifage.
Yeah, I'm surprised
Man.
that no mentions like the Misfits or anything. Yeah, but
The Misfits, they talk about horror, but it's they're 2-minute songs. There's not a lot of atmosphere. It's pretty simplified. It's hey, you know, it's catchy. There's nothing really scary about it.
I've
Yeah.
got kind of a cool story about the Misfits, if I can tell it.
yeah, go for it.
About 10 years ago at my job at Travel Centers of America, I was a custodian there, and the Misfits came in. I live in Redding, California. They came up by 5 and stopped in for gas and stuff. And the girl or the lady that I was working with, she thought I might be a fan. And I said, who? She goes, the Misfits. She goes, they're out here. She goes, I've been talking to them. And I go, oh, really? And so I was busy doing my job. And then she comes back with a set of guitar strings and a set of bass strings and a poster that was signed that they told her to give to me because I was the only guy there that ever talked about music. You know, they used to call me the singing janitor. And so I had all this stuff, and I said, I haven't got the heart to tell them I've never heard a note. I don't know what they sound like.
Oh, that's fun. There's a lot of people who be very jealous of your your memorabilia there. Do you still
Hey,
have
no, actually, I don't know where the poster went, and I think I used the guitar strings, and then I gave the packages to a friend who was a big Misfits fan. He wanted them for sort of a souvenir. A guy that I worked with. Oh, by the way, if you ever do a show on anything to do with Mike Patton, I used to buy records from him in Eureka, California at the Works. Mr. Bungle comes from Eureka. So they were born in Eureka High, where I graduated in 1970. They came out of there in 1985 and ended up making it big because of Faith No More. So if you ever want to find out about what he was like before he got famous, I would love to come on and talk about him.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's a great guy. Mike Patton was the nicest kid you'd ever met, man. So much energy, so much personality, and he was very good to old people, young people. I mean, you know, really good customer service, always telling people where to find their records and you know, stuff like that. He was just really good at it. I had no idea he could sing, and then he told me he loaned me a cassette of Mr. Bungle's The Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny in 1985. And they ended up releasing that as a CD just a couple of years ago, I think. So it took forever for that thing to get out.
Oh,
but yeah, their musicianship is just off the hook.
Yeah. I mean, not well, I guess some Faith No More songs are a little scary, right? A little evil.
No, but I'm
sounding,
talking about
Got a
Mr.
little
Bungle.
edge.
I'm talking about Mr. Bungle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and
sorry, just thinking,
well, yeah, I know it's kind of circling, but in the Epic video that was on MTV like every day in 1990 for a while, he's wearing Mike is wearing a Mr. Bungle t-shirt. So he was advertising the other band in the video. Apparently the rest of the band wasn't too happy about it.
You know what? That video was scary to one person, one thing, the fish at the end dying. Yeah. Scary
Fish
to
out of
that
water.
fish. It always bothers me. But for the comment section below, I just want people to not freak out. How could they not say this? Yes, we all know the first Black Sabbath album was pretty scary when it came out. It's got a very scary cover, and the title track Black Sabbath off of Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath is very, very frightening. Yes, we know, but I didn't pick it because it's low-hanging fruit, and I wanted to go a little deeper.
Again, it's got that note I was telling you about, you know, that off-key note on the third note. It goes dun, dun, dun.
Yes.
and Tony Iommi wiggles it, real fast. That was a creepy sounding lick, man. When we first heard it, like, oh my god.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
I was in the Air Force when Black Sabbath released that record. Or actually, they released Paranoid when I was in the Air Force, and then I got to see them live. I got to see them live on the Master of Reality tour, and Yes opened for them in Las Vegas, which is a really weird night.
right.
Well, that's awesome. All right. Well, I think we've probably gone through all the everything we
Eviled
could say
out,
about
yeah.
evil albums.
There you
anyone,
go. It's in the bag, in the can.
There we go. And hopefully we'll get to save this one till October for Halloween, as per Jamie's suggestion. But we'll see what happens. And yeah, so housekeeping stuff. Thank you for watching. If you want to join these discussions, there is the Patreon you can join, and any tier will get you access. If you want to buy a coffee for Martin, as it were, there's a Ko-fi, there's Tea Public. If you want some Contrarians merch, our panelists, a lot of them have their own podcast channels, Facebook pages, all that good stuff.
Oh, yes, come to
check them
mine.
out. Yeah.
Come to my Facebook page. Let's get physical. It's all about physical media. It's all about this stuff, and books and comics and magazines and t-shirts and action figures, whatever you got that's physical.
Yeah.
Let's get physical.
Check it out, everyone. Let's keep growing the community and get more and more of these voices going. So I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank everyone who came tonight. Thank you so much. As always, I got to learn a lot by listening to everyone here today. So thank you. And yeah, everyone, have yourselves a great day, night, morning, whatever it is.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You're welcome.